Awaken the light. The cosmos is within you. Remember who you are.
Hello, 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 people. Minister Dr. Akila Ka Ma'at here. And you got to forgive me. I've been a little under the weather this week. Well, don't forgive me for that. This is just a part of life here. But yes, welcome back. Welcome, 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 welcome. And I'm going to say, as usual, love is light, love and lights, ashe. And, welcome all to the Ascension series. It's been a wild ride this week, what we looked at, and I'm going to do that in a minute. But first, let me do some housekeeping here, okay? So love and lights, ashe, welcome all to the Ascension, okay? And if you could do this for me, it would really be phenomenal. Like, subscribe, and hit notifications. This definitely is helpful for getting this information into the algorithm from what I'm told on YouTube. And if you find that this live stream has some information that is relevant to you and you think it's helpful, others may think the same thing. And also, while I'm on, share this live stream. Maybe other people want to come on to the live stream. I was just taking a look to see how it was filming. I got all my lights on today. So please like, subscribe, and hit the notifications, my friends, okay? And I want to tell you real quick that as a reminder, the Ren practice guide for this week is on the resource page. I'll bring the widget up if I can here. On the widget page, on the resource page on power-profit, power-profit.com/resources. You scroll down on this page, you'll be able to see the free practice guide and download the PDF from there so that you have it, because the PDFs go along, these practice guides go along with each week that we're covering in the Ascension series. And if you put all those practice guides together, when we're done, you have 10 weeks worth of a free workbook, really, to help guide you on your path toward spiritual awakening, conscious awakening, ancestral connection, just sort of powering up your own vibration to be able to live a life aligned with what you believe is important as it relates to what it is that I share, right? Because the practice guides are aligned with my perspective on what I am sharing, as is everyone's spiritual material, and they're free. And if you and they don't stay up, they go down, and the next week I put one up. In order to get all of these guides, they are in the temple, and I'll put that information up a little later, right, about how to sign up and join the temple, a community for like-minded folks to really work on, discuss this stuff, free resources. And I will never stop saying this stuff takes work. And it's one thing to do it by yourself. It's hard, right? It's very hard to do it and then to sustain that type of walk. And so in the temple, you have resources there. You can make requests for resources. You have people to talk to, people to support, meditation live streams, practice live streams, sacred temple newsletter that has even more layers of insights and information. So I'm just putting that plug in right now. I'll pull up the QR code a little later so that you can go there. But that's the temple. Is in the description is a link. And the description is a link to the to the Ren practice guide. And so please make use of these things. And the temple has a 7-day free trial. Okay. So, you know, please avail yourself of these resources. I just want everybody to just, all Kim people, you know, to really realize what we have, this biochemical wonderment that everybody else wants and is trying to figure out and break down, but we have it naturally. And we don't really, I don't think we really give it the attention that it deserves. Yes, we love on it with lotion and all these wonderful things, and, you know, tan to get, you know, golden in the sun and all of these great things, which are good. But somehow we bypass the whole fact that melanin, our Kim, is a power. For a long time, people have said it is a sixth sense. I know it. I live it. And folks like me know it and live it. And that is ultimately the message that this is all about, the Ascension. Know and live the power of your Kim. Yes. So if you've been following me this week, welcome back. You do not need to have followed me at all this week to be here today. Okay. But if you have been, welcome back. It has been a really interesting week. You know, I began by sharing on the corrupted identity. Okay. Looking at Officer Tatum, who I call Officer Mr. Tatum, because he is, you know, I don't know if they can claim, like, I still claim doctor, you know. I spent 14 years in school for that. You know, I'm not throwing that away, right? That's not going anywhere. But Officer Tate, the corrupted identity, the self that forgot whose and who it was, right? Let me turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, because, you know, it could be a little challenging with these little spam calls that want to come in when I'm online. Yeah, I got my glasses on today, and I can see everything with these bad boys on. So, and then we reclaimed two of the most powerful things our ancestors ever carried. One, the Ren, your true name, and Nomo, the truth. That the word does not describe a thing. No, my friends. The word makes the thing, whatever that is. Okay. And today, on this last day, on Ren, the last day of Ren, we are in the gate of Ba. Okay. And the practice guide gives you insight on these terminologies in case you missed yesterday, right? Which gets to the nitty gritty of this body of light, right? So this is the last day of Ren. We take all of it off the page today, like normally on Thursdays, and strive to put it in actual life, how you walk, how you practice. That's the ultimate thing. You can hear this stuff, peek at it, do whatever it is that you think looking and hearing will do. But I'm going to tell you, looking and hearing does not do much, right? What does much is actually practicing these things. And so far with this week, you have 4 practices that you can actually integrate into your life should you be interested in connecting with your ancestors and activating your Kim. Okay? So, as a reminder, my name is Minister Dr. Akila Ka Ma'at, my friends. And this is the Ascension. And I want to be clear about what today is, my friends. This is a live stream of strategies and practices that you can implement in your life today. Okay? If you want a full guided practice, that happens in the temple. That means I'm guiding you through the dark awake and the black light in understanding, capturing, sitting in, embedding in, becoming ensconced in, covered over, right? The generative power of wording, right? No mo. Okay. And so the full practice, as I said, it would be a video in the temple. Okay. I'm going to hand you two things today that you can carry out of here and start using the moment we in. I mean, that's the goal today. That's every Thursday. Something you could implement right away, or that day, or that morning. Okay. Just to get the ball rolling, to see what it's like for yourself. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to cover is the discipline of the word, my friends. Learning to be mindful, my friends. Learning to be mindful. Mindfulness comes from being still. Still in the Ascension and Melanin Metaphysics is sitting in the dark awake and sitting in the black light, which means full connection with your kin. Okay, mindful. So when something happens, like if you start doing something, you can wake yourself up immediately because you're catching it. Mindfulness, being aware in the process of doing, being aware in the process of doing. And the second, and that's being mindful of what you speak over your reality, if I didn't finish that sentence. And the second is the beginning of the most sacred reclamation of all, the discovery of your own spiritual name, my friends. If this is your very first time here with me, again, welcome. And you are right on time. All right. So let me start with something I really need you to receive, my friends. Okay, I really need you to receive it because this will literally change your life. Okay, it will change your life, my friends. And you do not get to choose whether you practice Nomo. No, no, no. You are practicing it right now. I am practicing it right now. And you are practicing Nomo every single day of your life. Out loud and under your breath, in the car, in the mirror, in your own head. You are always speaking your reality into being. Again, you are always speaking your reality into being. The only choice you ever had is whether to do it awake or do it asleep, my friends. And most of us, I know I was for decades doing it asleep. Okay? We say things all day long. We would never say if we truly understood that they were spells. SPELLS. We narrate our own lives like a weather report, my friends, of everything that is going wrong, usually. And then we wonder why the forecast keeps coming true. My friend, your mouth is a wand. Do you hear that? Your mouth is a wand. And you never put it down. You never. Not for one waking hour. I mean, yes, we do stop talking, but we can say some crazy things ourselves and about others in our head. And the discipline I'm going to teach you today is simply to wake up, mindfulness, and to notice what your wand has been pointing at, right? What is this wand targeting? What is it abracadabraing into existence? So, I think we have like maybe 5 5 strategies in this area. I'm going to go through each one because they are so very important. So here's the discipline of the word. And I'm not handing you a rigid set of rules. I would never do that. Because I don't want people to be afraid, and this is all intuitive as well. Use your own guidance in these things. I'm giving you a new way to listen to your mouth. And let me walk it through with you, okay? The first discipline or practice, and the most powerful of all, is to guard your I am. Those are the 2 most powerful words you own. They are a throne, my friends. Whether your seat on the throne, whatever you seat on the throne, whatever you place right after the I am, my friends, you are commanding it into being. These are the laws of the universe that the Dogon tribe knew even before all of this came to be, right? An African tribe in the Congo. Okay, check out live stream 2 from yesterday. All right. So whatever you place right after I am, my friends, you are commanding it into being. All right, because you are naming yourself, and to name is to create. So listen to how you finish the sentence. I am broke. I am exhausted. I am so bad with money. I am too much. You think you are describing yourself. That's what we think when we do that. You are not. That is not what is happening here. You are crowning it. You are crowning yourself. You are sitting it on the throne of your own identity and telling your whole life to bow to it. And this is not exaggeration. This is the generative power of words. So we're going to stop finishing I am with the curse. Okay? Yes, exhausted, ugly, bad, stupid, no good, unworthy, I ain't shit. Bah, bah, bah. We are going to stop finishing the I am with the curse and start finishing it with the reality of who you actually are, right? This sounds really simple. Duh. Okay. I hear the duh. I get it. I am. So I am isn't the divine being I am? I am, right? I mean, I am is powerful. And this may seem simple in theory, but I want you to try it out for the rest of the day, like everything here, okay? That I'm going to share with you today. And in 2 weeks, not even that, over the weekend, I want you to come back, send me an email about what has happened in your reality. You replace all those curse words. So, I am exhausted. I need to get some rest. I am in a low vibe right now. My energy is low. I'm tired. I'm broke. I'm so bad with money. That's what I'm so bad with money. I am working my damnedest to create a budget. Generative power. You're so bad with money, you create a budget. What is this? I am too much. Oh my God, I'm too much. I should have done that. I am perfect just the way I am. Perhaps I need to be more cognizant of the way in which I interact with people so that I don't have to go through this conversation in my head again or in my mouth. Sounds really simple. For some people, it sounds like really that's stupid. It is not. What you claim is what you are and what you will call into your life, because in metaphysics, all of this stuff has power. You're projecting that out into the energy, the quantum entanglement. The energy is being taken up. And the law of physics, for every action is a reaction. If you are cursing yourself, then that will draw the curse in even more. And continually. Okay? And also the thing about this is if you do it enough, you begin to just do this naturally. Okay? And so the second is to catch the automatic curses, right? These are the little things we say all day long without a second thought. All this stuff is without a second thought. But these are like more automatic. Somebody pulled into a parking spot and Walgreens right before you. This always happens to me. Or you go into the mall and you're looking at stuff and you're looking at the price. I can't afford this. I mean, it's just so natural, and it makes so much sense to say it, my friends. I'm dying. And we say that sometimes laughing. I say that a lot. I used to say that a lot. I mean, I really thought I was, but that was called depression and anxiety and just being in a moment of the dark night of the soul, which I recovered from, thank goodness. But how about I'm a hot mess? You say something to somebody, oh, I'm a hot mess. And some of this stuff is endearing. And they said, yeah, sound like jokes. They sound like harmless complaining. And it is like the air we breathe, we do it. But my friend, they are prophecies. And your body and your life are listening. And so is the universe. So even when you're only playing, you are displaying a disregard for prosperity and abundance in your life. So you do not have to become rigid in any of this and afraid of every word you say. Not afraid, cautious. Okay? You only have to start by really being mindful, hearing yourself, because the moment you can hear the curse, my friends, you get to choose a different word. That is why it is so critical to do meditative activities like the darker weight, sitting in the black light, listening to a guided meditation. If you don't want to listen to mine, or coming to the temple, listen to a guided meditation on YouTube, becoming a mindful meditation, becoming mindful, because any transformation in life requires mindfulness, because if we're transforming, that means behaviors have to change. The way we speak has to change. Maybe the way we dress may have to be different a little bit. Maybe our gait, the way we walk may have to be a little fixed up, holding ourselves up, right? And if we're not mindful of when everything is falling down, then we can never really step into a true transformation practice. So mindfulness is the fulcrum. It is the egress into this work. Okay? So the moment you can hear it, like this morning, I was sitting on the porch and I said something and I was like, no. And I rolled that baby back, whatever I was thinking. I can't remember now because it's gone. I rolled it back so quick, it didn't even really come to fruition. That is what happens when you become mindful. And that is so critical for a spiritual walk, where someone is trying to transform themselves into something better for themselves, not for anybody else, but for themselves. Okay? So the third, right, is to speak to your reality. Speak to your reality in the language of life. Churches, well, this is where I got this from church. Speak death or speak life. I was a charismatic Christian for many years. And that was a key phrase. Speak life, speak death. And you certainly don't want to be speaking death, right? And so you want to speak to your reality in the language of life. And this is not lying to yourself, okay? It is not pretending. People say, I'm a realist. I'm a this. I tell it like it is. That's why perhaps you've seen it like it is. You telling it like it is, so you seeing it like it is. It's a vicious, vicious, vicious cycle. It's like the upside down wheel of fortune, right? It's just laying in the dirt, thinking you're getting up, laying back in the dirt, right? Wheel of fortune going the opposite direction. Instead of clockwise, it's going counterclockwise because you're stuck, because you call yourself a realist. And you want to speak what you see about your environment, about everything, your money, about your opportunities. Tell it like it is. Okay? You can curse all that, but let me get back to my little notes here so I don't get off track. I really want to get all the stuff out. Okay? So, you're not lying to yourself and you're not pretending. The first, let me get this straight about speak to reality in the language of life, okay? It is declaring, okay? You speak over your body the way you want it to heal. You don't just say, I'm fat. I'm a fat mess. Somebody might say, why are you saying it like that? Because I am. I'm a realist. I tell it like it is. You speak over the body the way you want to heal it. Right? You want to lose weight? I'm losing weight. And you know what? The more and more you say that to yourself, these are the strategies now. We don't always need pills. We got power in our mouth. What will happen is you'll start to do things along those lines. If you say it enough, long enough, strong enough, real enough, and believe it and have faith that that is what is happening. Sounds far out. I understand. But this is really central to how the universe operates and how energy operates, how frequencies, vibrations operate, particularly in the generative power of the word. The word creates reality. So you speak over your children, the destiny you want to call up out of them. You're a genius. You care for people, but you're not stupid. You're not a pushover. I shouldn't say stupid. You're not a pushover. You're discerning. You're phenomenal. You're wonderful. You're a blessing. You'll do wonderful things in life. Anything you put your mind to, you can do. But it's not rigid. And if your child decides to do something different from what you've been speaking over them, please don't get mad and don't feel like you faltered, because everybody has their own free will, right? Okay. And so when you're frustrated with things you don't like, speak to the frustration in the moment. And that's also being mindful, and that's also understanding reaction from response. Okay? You speak over your money, you speak over your work and your future in the language of where you are going, my friends. And not only the language of where you are stuck. And we can also get in our head. While we will tell things out of our mouth, in the correct way, our thinking is still stinking, right? We will still say these things secretly to ourselves, but to show, and this is all about show and performance. You can even perform for yourself. You will speak out your mouth the positive, the high vibration word, the generative nomo in that way, but your mind, your thoughts are still not lining up. That doesn't work. Everything has to be on board when you are speaking over your life. What you speak over other people, you are also speaking into the very air that you yourself have to breathe. She's an asshole. And so what happens? I mean, of course, we can all be pleasantly surprised, but if we're speaking that out loud over somebody, then as a curse, that is creating the conditions for assholic behavior. Okay? When we project out, we get back. All this stuff makes sense. The Dogon tribe had this first. Well, I mean, first in the line of looking at it here. There could be other cultures that were doing this prior to the Dogon tribe in Congo. But look, there's so many things that tell us that this is true. But it just takes too much work for some folks to do this, but yet they say they want to change their lives. They want to change themselves. You cannot poison the whole field, right? That Ubuntu, that those nodes in the fields, all that connectivity, that quantum entanglement, because yeah, we may think we're speaking just into our immediate reality, but look, through quantum entanglement, that spreads way out. And I'm not even going to take you and blow your mind with the extent of quantum entanglement, but you're not only speaking over your reality, you are speaking over the entanglements at the quantum level. And so you cannot poison the whole field and then be surprised that nothing grows for you, for your family, for your life. Speaking death over others is one of the fastest ways to curse your own house. I think the preachers in the Black church taught this too. But there's something about wallowing in pain and speaking just crazy. There's something that people like about that. But it has not one piece of productivity. You are cursing yourself and everything that is surrounding you and all the opportunities that can come to you. That to me, when I learned this stuff, I got a little scared based on my prior behavior and the things that came out of my mouth about me and my reality and people in my reality. So, the fifth is mercy. Yes, mercy. And it is this: when you cannot speak life, and sometimes it could be very, very challenging, my friends, just be quiet. Don't say anything. Not a word. Do not say a word. Okay? You're going to have days when you cannot find a single true thing to say that is not heavy. On those days, silence is sacred. And in that moment, silence is sacred. And in those minutes, silence is sacred. In that hour, as you see what I'm doing, you do it for as long as it is necessary. If you have nothing to come out of your mouth, that is life. Okay? And so you're going to have those days, right? And it's not wrong being silent. We don't have to keep filling the air up with a whole bunch of talking. Just be quiet. And maybe in that silence, you might get some downloads, from your spirit guides and ancestors about some things you may need to know. Because you are sitting in mindfulness, right? I'm speaking life right now. You are sitting in mindfulness, right? So that's a good thing. All right. Silence is part of this discipline, my friends. It is always better to hold the word than to pick up the wand and curse with it. Okay. Our ancestors and our elders knew this. Sometimes the most powerful nomo of all is the word you choose not to say. And that is the last one that keeps this sort of generative word power in this live stream for this content. Okay. It is the reframe, right? Power of release is recognize, release, and reframe. We recognize the corrupted identity, right? We talked yesterday about how to release it. And today we're actually doing a reframe. So, what do we need to transform or transition into in order to make this real, right? You know, because somebody is going to hear all of this and think, I'm telling you to stand in a burning building and say everything is fine. I am not. That is not what I am seeking to do. Okay? I am telling you to stand on the truth, right? Because everything is fine. That is not a word that is truthful. That is a lie. And only the word aligned with truth actually creates, right? That creates. And so that is ma'at, right? So instead of I am fine when you are not, you learn to say the truer, fuller thing. Not yet, right? I am learning. This is hard and I'm still here. This is not how the story ends. That is not denial, my friends. That is the truth spoken toward life. Now I'm going to turn from the words we speak over our lives to the single most sacred word there is, your name. I like this part, right? Because yesterday we learned about the Ren, the true name, and today I want to talk to you about your spiritual name. And I have to define that clearly, and I have to be cognizant that there are culture, even in the Kim communities, Black communities, there are distinct cultural practices around identifying the appropriate name. Some people just pick one off the list. Some people call in an elder or a more spiritually connected seer to come and name the child. So this is not to dismiss all of the wonderful practices that already exist in Kim communities. It's just additive to things that I will share. Okay? And so your spiritual name is not the name on your birth certificate, my friends. That is the name your parents gave you. You keep it like I have. You honor it like I have. I did not change my name on my birth certificate. Okay? I'm talking about the deeper name underneath that one, my friends. The soul's name, the Ren, is what I'm speaking of right now. And here's the thing I need you to hear because it takes a little bit of the pressure off. I don't want anybody to feel like this is pressure, like I gotta change my name. No. You don't have to do anything first. Okay? Like one of my clips, you don't have to do a damn thing, right? So this is not about you have to do this. This right here is food for thought. There are many people who have taken on spiritual names. This requires thinking. I'm going to get into some of that, and meditation and connection. And I'm going to get into some of that. So this is not pressure. Your true name Your spiritual name is not something you invent, okay? It is something you remember, all right? It is an ancestral memory. In our understanding, your name is carried in the Ka, the bloodline, my friends, written into the very Kim, the melanin of you. All right. So discovering it is not a creative writing exercise, my friends, where you have to be clever enough to come up with something that sounds spiritual. Okay. It is a remembrance. It is you getting quiet enough to hear a name that has been yours the whole time. And so many Kim folks already feel this and just do not have the language for it, okay? That inexplicable pull toward a certain name or a certain word or a language you have never studied or a homeland you have never seen. That pull, my friend, is not random. It really is not random. It is the memory rising, okay? It's the memory rising. That is your true name, perhaps, knocking on the inside of you, asking, let me out, okay? Because a spiritual name does not only label you, my friends, it names your essence and it names your purpose, who you truly are, and what you actually came here to do. And you know, when my name Akila Ka Ma'at came on me, you know, and this may not be translated word for word, but Akila means life. Ka, as we've talked about the bloodline, but I was drawn to Hepka, who put souls and personalities into the dead, right? And so put souls and personalities into the dead, not meaning actually people who have deceased, but meaning people who, in the activation of it for me, corrupted selves, right? Which is a form of death. So life, pouring life into souls, and then Ma'at is the restore of balance and harmony. So pouring life back into souls to restore truth, balance, and harmony. And I'm going to tell you something. I didn't even know the reality of what any of this meant, really, until I was reading a book, this huge book called Chakras. I mean, I had an idea, but then I read the chakra book, and then I was reading, what's his name, Robert Bruce Bynum, Edward Bruce Bynum's book, right? And the reality of that name came to like what it was. And I was like, oh my goodness. It was profound. Like I knew, but I really, in doing the research, surprisingly, in doing the research, coming across the full weight of the understanding of Akila Ka Ma'at, right? So, your spirit name is who you truly are and what you actually came here to do. And so, how do you discover, right? How do you discover it? You know, I could share my strategies, but you know, they're written into these, right? Um, but it was just the awakening, the spiritual awakening part, and the meditation and the communication outside of this reality with ancestors and others. That sounds kind of, you know, a little like you can't grab on to anything there. but it just emerged. And it usually was emerging in the quiet. Okay. And so I'm gonna give you some strategies which tap into some of the things that I walk through. Okay. And this is not a rigid ritual, because the full guided practice, of course, if you really want to go through this step by step, in a more intuitive way for yourself, but guided, right? That lives in the temple, okay? But real ways to begin listening for your name, I'm going to give you these strategies. So, the first and the most important is to ask the ancestors, my friends, just point blank, period. And just listen. And I gave some strategies, I think, last week of how to connect with your ancestors, right? Yes, it was on Sunday, I did the two-way line, strategies to connect with your ancestors. Bring the question into the stillness, my friends, into your dreams, into the signs of your ordinary day, and ask them plainly in your own words. Who am I? Who am I? What is my name? Right? And then stop talking. Just stop talking. Okay? And listen. Listen. Okay? Listen is a thing. Not think about your grocery list, not going to the gas station, not picking your son up or daughter up from school. None of that. You're sitting there, you can't control your thoughts, that's fine. But you don't have to keep grabbing them and thinking about them. Just let them come and go. Sit and you listen, okay? That is very important. And so the answer will come. It will be a knowing. It's a knowing. It's like intuition, right? It may even come to you in a dream. I remember I was dreaming one time, and I actually dreamt Ubuntu, which was part of this walk of Akila Ka Ma'at. Because you can't pour life into a soul and find truth, balance, and harmony all by yourself. So my dreams were giving me the principles, as I'm sharing with you now, and always on this live stream. As I've shared, a lot of the information that I have began in intuitive downloads, right? Then I looked up Ubuntu. I was like, Ubuntu? And it was an actual stone in a woman's necklace. It was beautiful. And I asked her, we were on some kind of cart going somewhere, I don't know, like we were in this cart going somewhere, and she had this beautiful jewelry on. We were like out in the wilderness or something. And I said, oh, it's a beautiful necklace. That's a great stone. What is it? And she said, Ubuntu. She was a white woman. She said, Ubuntu. Your dreams, your ancestors speak to you in your dreams, okay? So sit back, stop talking, listen for an answer, unknowing. In a dream, you may actually hear your name, or you may see a word or name that's continually appearing over and over and over and over and over again, right? Those are those signs and communications from ancestors and spirit guides, right? So don't dismiss if you keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again, a name, a word, right? Because, you are not making up the name. You are asking the ones who have always known it to allow you to reclaim it, to give it to you. So you have to be aware. Listen in the silence. After you ask, listen in the silence. If you are doing exercises where you're going to do it in your dream, ask before you go to sleep. See what happens in the dream, and look for the signs and communications around you, around words that just keep appearing, names that keep appearing over and over and over again. The second is to follow the meaning and the lineage, okay? So go and study the naming traditions of kinfolks, right? Not just here in United States of Americans, these communities of folks that have these naming practices, but If you are aligned with Africa and Africa diaspora, look out into those countries. Okay? And so go and study those traditions, right? There are beautiful languages, the day names, the prayer names, and what they carry. Look into your own family names and the stories behind them, those names, those individuals, because a true name almost always means something true about you. Even my given name is powerful meaning behind that. Even more powerful, I would say, than my spirit name, but then that's not really fair because they operate in different ways. Yes, it gets that nuance. Okay? So you read what the name means, and something in your chest might just say, it just clicks, and you just know that's you. The third is to notice what already calls you. All right. Pay attention to the word or the name or the quality that keeps showing up in your life. The nickname that always fits you better than your government name ever did. Right. And like I said, I gave you my insight into nicknames, but I put this in here because a nickname could signal more about, uh, it could be a marker, a place to start, to begin to discover or reclaim your name, right? It could be a marker, right? The name that gives you chills when you hear it or brings up tears. That's a good one. If you feel an emotional release behind hearing or seeing a certain name. And then when you say it out loud, if that's just like a profoundly peaceful or some sort of emotional reaction to saying it out loud, whether that be tears or chills or something else, that should be a consideration to be reflected on. Very often, the memory is not far away at all regarding why that name is doing that to you or having that impact or pulling that out of you, right? Generative power of the name doesn't just work out there. Generative power is building something inside of you because you are an environment, a reality. Okay. And so um, the fourth is to look at your essence and your purpose, my friends. You know, um, for Kim folks, praise names describe a person's character or their destiny. So sit with an honest question that I'm going to give you right here. What word would name the truth of who I am underneath the mask? And sometimes that's a little bit of digging. But again, what word would name the truth of who I am underneath the mask? Okay? What word would work? What word would name? What word would name the work I was sent here to carry? Sometimes your name has been hiding inside of you, calling to you the whole time. I know mine has been ever since I was a little girl with my mama. My name is uniquely Egyptian. And my mom was a very serious enthusiast over Egyptian mythology, books everywhere. And I could get into that remembrance because we choose who we come through, right? Like our mother is our karma. Our mother is a chosen vehicle for us to come through. And from my interpretation, downloads on this, it's because we are reincarnated. So we're chosen, she's chosen, the mom is chosen. We come through. For some of us who have work we have still to do, not just take up a whole nother life, but a continuation of work We choose this vessel to come through to shake us awake in this new life, in this new way of being, but we have the same soul mission. That's another live stream. But yes, my mother dipped me in Egyptian mythology, which I took all the way to Nubia and, just all study of the world history. And oh my goodness. And yes, I was lost for many, many decades. Okay. Not many, many, but many decades. Right. So it's not like you come through and all of a sudden you're shaken awake and you know what it is. Some people do. And they jump on that purpose right away. Right. But some of us, we need some fire under our arse to remember why we were sent here in the first place, or back here in the first place. Okay. And the spiritual name is a piece of that remembering, not so much ancestral remembering, but remembering your cosmic mission. Okay. And so the fifth is the one that makes it real, and it is pure Nomo, generative word power here. So, try on what I shared with you today, just even one or two of these things, and speak it, voice it, say it out loud, live with it for a few days, as I talked about earlier. Let it move through your mouth and your ears and in your own chest, okay? Because a true name, a true name will confirm itself. You don't have to guess. Just like when I was doing reading, and then I was reading about my spiritual name as I was walking and living it, it will confirm itself. Okay? And it sometimes feels like remembering. It feels like coming home. It does not feel like putting on a costume. Okay? Or a name that's associated with so much hardship and trauma. Like I said yesterday, some people change their name. They're guided to change their name to release the pain. Right? Doesn't make it any less of a spirit name. Everybody is called to change their name for different reasons, or called into remembrance of a name for a different reason. Okay? And so, where am I at? So the thing about it is the right one settles into you like it was always there because it was. Some people cannot even think about calling me anything but Akila Ka Ma'at. Right? And like I said, for a long time, I kept forgetting how to pronounce her first name, Akila. So I say, the right one settles into you like it was always there. And it did. And people can't even imagine me when I say my given name. Oh, no, that don't fit you. That's how that works. It's very interesting phenomenon. People have written about name changes. They can be very profound, and healing. Okay. And the last thing, hold your discernment for me, and do not try to do this entirely alone. Weigh the name against the truth. All right. A name lifts you up and aligns with your highest self. It does not just inflate your ego or make you sound impressive. Right. And remember, among kinfolks, my friends, naming was never a solo, alone act that was done in isolation. It was a communal endeavor. It was ceremonial, right? It happened in the presence of elders and families, and sometimes the whole village, most often. So do not be afraid to seek a circle or a guide or a reading to help you hear and confirm your name. And that is what the temple is for. Yes, I keep saying the temple because a lot of stuff happens in the temple. And it is part of what a reading with me is for. All right. So, yeah, that was a short. Oh, it's an hour. My goodness, that's good. Okay. So let me leave you with this. I say that's good because you know I could talk a long time. So, from today forward, my friends, mind your words because you are always speaking your world into being. So do it awake. Speak life over yourself, over your children, over your people, over your environment. And know this deep down where it counts, your true name is not lost. And it is not something you have to go out and manufacture. It is already inside. It is inside an ancestral memory waiting patiently for you to get quiet enough to remember it, and brave enough to speak it out loud, my friends. Now, here's how we keep walking together here. Yeah, and like I said, forgive me, I'm a little under the weather now, yesterday, and today. But I want to tell you about, of course, the temple. It's a good place to be. Don't forget to hit love lights, ashe. Sorry, you know I'm not doing too hot today. Uh, but I am getting better. All right. Please like, subscribe, and hit notifications. That's what I meant to say. Okay. So the temple. I would love to have you come join me in the temple and join the rest of the folks in the temple. Yeah, like that, like that. How come it's got me looking over there when I'm looking over here? You know, I'd be doing some crazy stuff. Does it mimic my eyes? Some doctor would say, that person has ADHD. No, 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 no. I'm just wholly mindful of everything all the time. That's the problem. The empathic challenge that we have to work out, the awareness of everything all the time. Okay, Temple QR code there, 7-day free trial. I would love to see you there. Okay. And also, I want to share with you, if I have it up here, the 9 body reading. You want to know what your name is, like the Akashic records? We go through these and the 9 body points of light, right? In order to discern your name. And I should put this on the site that I do Akashic readings, so that is another avenue in order to facilitate remembrance. Okay. All right. So that's a QR code for the 9-point body reading there, my friends. So you have a wand in your mouth, my friends, and a name in your blood. So go and speak yourself into being. I will see you here next week, and we will step into the next body of light in the gate of Ba. Don't forget to visit www.power-profit.com to stay abreast of our blog. Look at the 9 bodies of light and see the resources that we have available, either for fee or for free. All right. Thank you so much, my friends. And I still didn't fix that. It says fiends. Thank you so much, my friends. Have a phenomenally abundant and blessed day. Remember, you are worthy of the best life possible. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.